Thank you for joining me. Right, tell me about the ethos and the eligibility for Equipe.
Okay, eligibility these days would be easier to say which cars are not eligible for us. We started with one series a few years ago, but actually this year we've introduced a new Libra series, and we'll talk about that in a second. But to run through the three grids that we do, Equipe GTS, which is where we started, is for smaller engined FIA cars under 2.7 litres. So for instance, a Healy 100, which you're leaning on, would be the perfect car to be in that. MGBs, Lotus Elites, TR4s, TVRs, Morgans, and great close racing, because what we don't allow is any sports racers, no Ginetta G4s. Sadly, no Alans. A lot of people would love to bring Alans, but they're a bit too quick for us. When what that gives you is really close, tight, fun racing. And we fill grids with GTS, which again I think is part of what it's about, because only 3 people are going to be on the podium, and everybody else wants to just get out and have a great race and have a good jostle with people around them. So that's GTS. We then introduced Pre-63, which is quite a known format now, and that has given us a whole new dimension. And a lot of new cars have joined us. Again, it's great for 3-litre Healys, and that doesn't have an engine size on it, obviously, but it has to be effectively late period E, or I guess very early period F, mostly period E cars, and that's been a success. Last year we introduced the 50s grid, but COVID, of course, took that pretty much away. So what we're doing again this year is we're going to run that as a separate grid within Pre-63. So what it has is it has its own grid sheets, and it has its own prizes, its own trophies and stuff. So it's a race within a race, I guess. And this year we've launched Libra, which, as it says, means kind of a bit of a catch-all for everything. Because what that does do is it then captures some of the big engine Pre-63, P66 cars, and it also gives a second race to our other key races. Now, that's quite a big thing. So a lot of people now, if they're going to go to the extent of going for a race day somewhere, they're going to want to do a second race, rather than just doing one race. So if you're a GTS competitor or a Pre-63 competitor, you can get a second race in Libra, and then it opens up a lot more cars in Libra than we had before. So this year we've got some Cobras, we've got some Mustangs, we've got some lightweight E-types, we've got some very nice machinery looking forward to coming out with us, and Elans finally have got somewhere to run with us. So there's a few of those lined up. So that looks like being quite fun.
Brilliant. So it's expanding all the time, and you're trying to run separate grids wherever possible.
In fact, at all of our events this year, we're running all those 3 grids.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. And now Boris has given us the green light. Has that put the mockers on your first event?
Yeah, I guess it's not going to surprise everybody. Our first event, I mean, we did have a track day booked at Brands Hatch on the 4th of March. I think that was optimistic. It's not going to surprise anybody that the 20th of March at Silverstone has now gone down, unfortunately. But we've now literally today we start refunding people. So if for us, if a race can't happen this year for any reason, we just instantly refund everybody. And we're now looking forward to the first race being a double header at Brands Hatch on April the 24th, 25th. So that's a big meeting for us. Always a very popular meeting, because mostly we do a kind of social evening as well on the Saturday night. So we're hoping maybe there's some form of acceptable distancing, sociability we can do. I don't know. We'll have to see.
So you've got a pretty packed calendar. Now, one of the highlights, we actually came racing with you last year and did the 3-hour relay, which is a brilliant event, and you're better at explaining it than me, really.
Yeah, it's being a relay. I tell you what it does is that we started off. It's interesting because there were no long distance events for old cars in the UK. I mean, there used to be the Burkitt relay has been established for millions of years and is really successful. But more and more now, that is dominated by modern cars with modern brakes, sticky tires. It's not a place for old cars. So we started thinking, how can we do a longer event? And of course, the Spa 6 hours is a legendary thing. And I know you've done it, I've done it. It's just a fantastic thing. But it does rely on one car going out there for 6 hours and with multiple drivers. So we looked at that to start with. And then we went back to the relay. The great thing with the relay is everyone's in their own car. So you can do as much or as little as you like. As it says, one car comes in, one car goes out. A lot of it's to do with teamwork. A lot of it's to do with keeping a pace, changing over quickly. What could possibly go wrong? And everybody starts out, as you know, everyone starts out with a great strategy of, oh, this is how it's going to happen. And then within minutes, it's chaos. But again, it's another great fun weekend. We deliberately run it between 4 and 7 in the evening. And then at 7, we usually have a live band and start a party up. So that's a kind of nice social thing too.
Yeah, we missed the party last year, didn't we? But
yeah, we missed all the parties last year, so that's a bit of a shame. And you talked about ethos, and it's interesting. I think our ethos is very much club racing, as it kind of used to be. And I guess in the 50s and 60s, you would get passionate amateurs racing fantastic sports cars, and then that's what we do today. We actually don't allow professional drivers into the series. This is an amateur club racing series, and we feel very strongly about some of the core values. We talked about sociability, and I've been racing for quite a long time now, and I did single seaters as well as sports cars, and I've spent a lot of time in paddocks looking around me thinking, oh, I don't really know anybody, and there's nothing organized. And so when we took this over, my partner and I, Rob and I took the original series over because it was failing badly, and we just felt we wanted someone to race. And then I think because we're drivers, we really sculpted the whole thing for us, for the sort of things that we would love to do. So it is one of our values is to have some fun and camaraderie. But I think also importantly, the two other big values are safe driving standards. None of us does this professionally. We all pay for our own cars and our own damage. There's no such thing as totally safe motorsport, but we really try and drum into people that this is not a do or die place. We have a red and a yellow card system, so if anyone comes together, we will look at it. Could it be avoided? We'll give them a yellow card, and too many of those or too many big things, and that will lead to a red card. And we're lucky to be in a position to do it. We have excluded people before now for driving standards, which is a shame, but it's there to protect everybody. The other one for us is car preparation. We are, I guess, we're as passionate about the cars as we are as the racing. So we love beautiful cars, and we like to see cars in period. We don't allow huge sponsor stickers or scruffy cars. We love cars to be as they were in the time.
Yeah, I think, and one of the reasons we love it and we race with you is cost effective. You don't need FIA papers, although you do specify it has to be Appendix K, but it does cut out that expenditure. If people have got their car up to scratch, you don't have the expense of getting the papers, which is brilliant.
Yeah, I think also it's a series and not a championship. So, we've all got busy lives, and again, we're not doing it professionally. None of us is expecting a call up from Ferrari next week. And so you can dip in and dip out. I mean, and then I know you do and others do. You do 3 or 4 events here and one event there, and it suits your calendar and it suits all the budgets too. Because even though increasingly we've got people now, we're into Libre, we're into some bigger cars. We've got people that have decent sized budgets. We can't forget that a lot of our grassroots club racers are saving up to do 2 or 3 events a year. You can't assume that everyone has a mega budget.
No, absolutely. Now, tell me, Super Sprint, what's all that about?
Well, this is the first time we've talked about it, actually, and I mentioned it to you earlier. We've got a day on October the 2nd where we have the whole of Silverstone to ourselves, and this is new for us. We normally buy track time off other people, and this is one of the first times that we've taken a whole day for Equipe for ourselves. And we thought, okay, what can we do with that? What can we do that's different? And we've come up with a format we call the Super Sprint. This is basically a whole day's worth of 10-lap sprints on the Silverstone National Circuit. So everyone should get 5 or 6 10-lap sprints. And so the whole day is going to be and what it'll do is it'll start off 10 laps, and then it'll with a whole bunch of races with people shuffled around, and then the top half will go one way and the bottom half will go another, and then that will keep going through, and then everybody gets a final as well at the end of the day. So there's masses of track time, there's masses of sort of cups and prizes, and everyone will be shuffling around doing these big sprints, you know, these 10-lap sprints. And so we think that's you know, around Silverstone, that's going to be 12, 13 minutes a race, which again, if you think about it, the first 12 or 14 minutes of any race are always the most fun, because everyone's jostling around and doing that. So we're going to reproduce that all day rather than just turning up for sort of one race or one qualifying. So it's something new, and we'll see how it goes. We're trying to make it a little bit of a sort of end of term fun thing, a bit like the 3 hour is in the summer. It's a fun event.